Okay, so can you introduce yourself to get us started, please?
I'm Peter Singleton, and I work for the Scottish Environment Protection Agency, and I am SEPA's Head of Research, Innovation and Evidence, and I've worked in environmental regulation, since 1986.
From your perspective, what types of academic research have the most significant impact on environmental policy and practice?
Gosh. So the easy answer is to say it's the game changer, but actually the game changers, in other words, a complete shift in technology, actually takes quite a long time to work its way through into the end user community. So if I take an example from my early career, I used to go out and I'd put a current meter in the sea. The current meter had a little propeller that went round and round and recorded the flow of water past it. Even when I started, people were beginning to play with acoustic Doppler technology or electromagnetic technology. But the gold standard was the little impeller turning round and round and round. And then as time moves on, you realize that actually the opposite is the truth. The little impeller going round and round has some friction. It has a flow below which it can't measure because the impeller doesn't turn. Some of these other technologies, particularly the Doppler technology, which has become more or less industry standard now, is closer to reality than what we perceive to be the gold standard to start with. But it takes quite a long time for that process to go through. And if you add on the requirement to take evidence to court, which fortunately in that case I wasn't involved, but you might have been, then that goes to yet another standard that can you demonstrate in a court that this is reliable evidence.
How do you think researchers can ensure their work is policy relevant?
So the first question is, I think not everything does have to be policy relevant, that we wouldn't make sensational breakthroughs if people weren't thinking out of the box. However, I also feel, particularly at the moment, we're at a point in human history where we have, some massive challenges, and actually the research community knows the answer to many of those challenges. May not know the perfect answer, but it's got a really good idea of where we should be moving to. So then it's about dialogue, and it's about selling things in a way that the policy world can understand it. And in some cases, that's very simple. So in some cases, there are people in the policy world who had a strong academic background and they can just pick it up. But in other areas, you really do need, we used to call them translators, people who can translate knowledge from the academic world and put it into a perspective that the policy world can understand. And I guess, we all sat through COVID and we all saw that virtually happening live in front of our face, as senior politicians were needing to make scientifically based decisions.
What advice would you give to academics who are looking to influence environmental policy with their research and their engagement with government agencies?
So please do it, would be my first piece of advice. But I suppose there is a cross flow of individuals and staff between the two things. And there are fellowships for academics to come and work within the policy environment. So I think getting as good an understanding of what the policy need is as you can really helps you then to be able to describe what you're trying to get across in a way that makes a difference. Because I guess a lot of time the interaction happens, but actually that's it. The piece of information stops at that point and doesn't get implemented in policy. So it's about seeing where you can really make a difference.